I love Tesla. I love Tesla.
Do you want to respond to President Biden being diagnosed with cancer? Are you going to call your predecessor?
I think it's very sad, actually. I'm surprised that it wasn't, the public wasn't notified a long time ago, because to get to stage 9, that's a long time. I just had my physical. You saw that. You saw the results of that particular test. I think that test is standard to pretty much anybody getting a physical, good physical. We had the doctors at the White House and over at Walter Reed, which is a fantastic hospital, do it. I did a very complete physical, including cognitive tests. I'm proud to announce I aced it. Got them all. I got them all right. You proud of me? Yes. Your husband would be proud of me for getting them all right. It's a little risk. If I didn't get them all right, these people would be after me. It would be not a good situation. But I think, frankly, anybody running for president should take a cognitive test. They say it's unconstitutional, but I would say in that particular case, having a cognitive test wouldn't be so bad. But when you take tests, medical, as a male, that test is very standard. I don't know if it's given to everybody, but it's given just about. And it takes a long time to get to that situation. Now, I think, to get to a stage 9, I think that if you take a look, it's the same doctor that said that Joe was cognitively fine. There was nothing wrong with him. Well, he said, if it's the same doctor, he said there was nothing wrong there. And that's being proven to be a sad situation. And the auto pen is becoming a very big deal. The auto pen is becoming a big deal because it seems like that maybe was the president who ever operated the auto pen. But when they say that that was not good, they also, you have to look and you have to say that the test was not so good either. In other words, there are things going on that the public wasn't informed. And I think somebody's going to have to speak to his doctor, if it's the same, or even if it's 2 separate doctors.
Thank you, President Trump. Now I'm going to buy some mother F bleep guns.
Hello, humans. This is your 22nd of May, 2025. This is your Power Report. I am Dan from the Internet. Bam will be joining me in just a moment. We've got a wonderful rundown produced by our producer Sachi here. We got a wonderful show with a wonderful beginning slate of commenters. Shout out to Pinkerbell. Shout out to Bad Lefty for holding it down. Shout out to everyone watching on Twitch. Shout out to everyone watching on Twitter, X, whatever. Yeah, we got to run down a Rooney for you. So I do want to shout out to folks that I have started a new YouTube series. I understand that, everyone gets that it's a little bit complicated to watch all these different live streams. There's a lot of different shows happening all the time. We'll have a lot more exciting information about that coming out very soon. But I did want to point out that I have a brand new video, part of a newer series to try to provide some variety to the live streams that I usually do. This video series is called Detour, like D as in Dan, and then Detour like that. I have a video up that I can show. I'm going to play a little minute of it here, but if you haven't seen it already, please check it out on my YouTube channel. This is going to be a recurring series. I actually have a bunch of them recorded. I have one that I'm going to try to edit and get up tomorrow, actually. It's about Dave Rubin. I'm getting a little bit into my music bag again, so that'll be a little bit of my teaser for that. But Yeah. And Pinkerbell has Pinkerbell's approval. Thank you for saying it's a good video and you listened while you were driving yesterday. I see that down there. This new StreamYard comments feature makes it a lot easier to read comments. That's for damn sure. Anyways, I'm going to play just a little bit of this with myself off screen because I don't like being on screen while I'm also on screen. So let's let that happen. The Democratic Party is filled with hubris, selfishness, careerism, and conceitedness. And I know that we've all known this about the Democratic Party, but after what's come out just this week, I'm not sure they're going to make it out of this one. So we're getting around that time to where the bombshell books are coming out. And you have to understand that this is a thing that happens pretty much all the time during an administration just beginning or after an administration just ending, where people who call themselves journalists will save some of their bigger scoops, their bigger information, until a little bit later where they can release a book, maybe get a New York Times bestseller, maybe go on a book tour, maybe go on some speaking events. Basically, they use the opportunity to level up their own sort of career, these journalists do. Instead of giving people the information that, you know, we as a semi-informed public would have liked to know beforehand. And there's a lot of reasons why that information can get delayed. I think it's easiest to look at the purely career reasons. I think back at Michael Wolff. He was famous for the Fire and Fury book that came out early in Trump's first term. That was kind of describing the chaos and the misunderstandings that were going on within the White House that Trump was causing, the sort of quote unquote unorthodox way that he was leading. To the extent that they were quote unquote bombshells or big news that we actually did know beforehand, a lot of this was being reported in the New York Times, in the Washington Post, and a lot of other, you know, reputable for this sort of stuff news outlets, the kinds that focus on Washington, D.C. and the inner machinations, the kinds who have the sources to be able to understand what's going on inside of a White House, even beyond what the press people within that White House would want the public to know. And that dynamic of press people hiding information from the public or from journalists only to give them covert information afterwards is kind of an annoying part, but that's not the point here. Now it's Joe Biden's turn on the hot seat from all these books. So you have two books that have come out. So yeah, little low-key vape break here. But yeah, like Pinkerbell said, it's a really good video. I have gotten a lot of good feedback. The metrics are looking really insightful on the back end, that this format really sticks well for people. People are watching, you know, a big part of the video, and you know, people will often watch also a big part of a 3-hour video, but to get them to watch a big part of a half-hour video is definitely, you know, has a different sort of impact. So Power Report is not changing too much in the near future. I will note that because I'm doing some moving over the next couple of months, there might be some different arrangements with Power Report. Maybe you get some different co-hosts one week. Maybe you get me on the road another week. Maybe we have to abruptly cancel a show. But just know that we will be around. We will be here. We're not going anywhere. I just am switching my places a little bit. But yeah, this is all sort of my attempt to level up the show, to make it a, you know, all around more engaging experience for, you know, everyone involved and everyone watching. And so, and no, it's not just the show, but also to like expand the audience, expand the people who are watching. So that definitely comes to it too. So check that out. I think I'm revealing here first that my next video is going to be about Dave Rubin and Ben Shapiro and Kanye West. This is an interesting thing about the Republican Party and the chickens coming home to roost on my like longest political project that I think is now seeing the fruits of its labor really come to fruition. So yeah, I'll cautiously say that's the next detour video. Although the interesting thing I'll say here, and I promise is the last piece I will mention on this, is that These detour videos have a similar Dan to the internet quality where I think they're really timeless. I had this whole piece about Jerry Connolly, and Syndicate 23 members actually had access to that video right when it launched. But shortly after this video launched, Jerry Connolly died. And so this video was about Joe Biden. And this video about Joe Biden was recorded, not, published, but the video was recorded before we publicly learned about the cancer diagnosis that Joe Biden has and has likely had for a longer time, as Trump was alluding to there. So these are all points to say that, like, there's a little bit of a timeless aspect to these things that I do. I'm always looking ahead to the right thing. So yeah, it's really good. Bad Lefty saying, looking forward to it already. Do not be kind. Trust me, I do not plan to be. I'm also trying to see, like, how far will... Okay, so it does kind of stop. Okay, I'm seeing. I was just trying to figure out how the framing worked for this new showing the chat on the side and then doing this. In fact, it almost reminds me of old headers will remember this Power Report sort of like design. And I can't really do it anymore, but for StreamYard limitations, but it's in the right place, except it's on the wrong side. Anyways, yeah, that's enough self-adulation for me. It's great because Bam is behind the scenes, and I know he either has a lot of things to say about the domestic news or doesn't, but either way, we'll have a lot of things to say about our international news. I don't know why Bam likes to talk about international news, especially things have to involve with South Africa. It's really sort of randomly, like sort of thing that he sort of likes to jump into. Randomly. I don't know. He does it very but yeah, folks, we love him. I'm gonna bring Bam onto the stage so I can stop talking about myself. Bam, how you doing?
Hello. How's it going?
Hope you don't mind. It's a new StreamYard feature, but you'll be sharing some screen real estate with the live chat on the side. So this has been a fan requested feature. This has been a host requested feature, and I'm happy to let y'all know that I've been working very hard. No, I've just been emailing StreamYard and paying the monthly subscription to be able to do this. So anyways, I'm glad it's working. We usually, a lot of shows do like the fake how are you doing with the hosts, but this is truly how are you doing that I'm asking you live on air, because we are real.
I'm just fine.
You're a news show, and that is what happened in the news.
There we go. Yeah.
Okay, I'm glad you're just fine. Not good, not bad, just fine.
I'm doing good. Can't complain too much.
Wow, really? In 2025, in big 2025, you're saying that you can't complain? That bad things aren't happening, you're just totally fine with them happening, Bam? Okay, that's fine.
I'm lucky to be born somewhere other than some places.
Now I'm going to buy some mother F bleep guns.
That can apply to a lot of different stories here. I'll give it dealer's choice. What's going on in the world of entertainment? No. What are you? If you know, you know. What are you? What story is calling to you right now? You're like, okay, I'm on Power Report. You never know what you're gonna get. What's the thing that Bam wants to pop off on right now?
Well, I mean, I don't know. What were you talking about before I got on?
I was talking about I was plugging the official launch of my exit from Power Report. No, it was the Bam laughs in glee internally. No, gets his Thursday evenings back. No, I wanted to make some like video essay style things that are like a little bit shorter than video essays. So I've been testing this segment idea for a while called Detour. I already have 4 episodes ready to go, maybe 5. And because they're a lot easier for me to produce, it's less like, oh, it's like Dan from the internet and I have this like very big brain idea. No, these are meant to be like a lot faster for me to get out, but still hopefully getting some of that depth that I like to do these things at. And I was just talking about my first one that I did, which I just published poorly. But I should have done great. But it was about the seniority and the, it's my turnism within the Democratic Party that has gotten you people like Joe Biden, who they're hiding his cancer diagnosis on the low, but because he insists that he's staying in the race, that he is going to, run for a second term, or even a first term. Or, Jerry Connolly, who was chosen based on seniority for the the House Oversight Committee over Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez for the Trump administration in the second term. And if you want someone who's on the House Oversight Committee to be able to be because you have no power in the Democratic Party in the Trump second term right now, in the very first couple, dozen days, 100, 200 days, right? You have no power as a Democrat. But what you can do is use your megaphone to describe what's going on. Again, it's an accountability measure, and it's littered with targets. It's a Minneapolis out there, so many targets. And you can that's a corporate joke for folks in the audience. But like the Democratic Party picked geriatric Freudian slip. They picked Jerry Connolly, and 1, 2, 3, whoop-de-doo, what do you know? Jerry Connolly not only is picked onto the House Oversight Committee in late 2024, early 2025, after he had just come back to the House after recovering from esophageal cancer. He ends up stepping down from the House a couple months later because the cancer is, coming back. And I recorded the video earlier this week, and I published a video literally hours before the man dies. And I happen to mention him in the video, and so I have to like publish it differently. And I recorded the video before even Joe Biden's like cancer diagnosis was announced, but everything in the video I said pretty much stands like 100%, 110% even. So yeah, if I had just, been the Grim Reaper and known that these things were happening, then the video would have been great. So Bam, in case you didn't notice, the only thing I was doing before we were talking, before you were joined, was talking about myself.
Yeah.
Which I was doing a lot of, which once again, I encourage people to do, because I have a fragile ego. No. Yeah. So, really, Bam, the question goes back to you. Whatever you want to talk about, unless it's also about, the olds, if you will.
I mean, Joe Biden got prostate cancer. Let's see what happens. I mean, he's pretty old. They said it's aggressive. I don't know if that means he's going to die this year or what.
And it's stage 4,
not stage 9.
It's like the colors after 2001. It's like an orange. Actually, no, it's like a red.
Okay.
Actually, no, it's like a purple.
Okay. And what would 9 would be black, I guess.
Exactly, because worse than purple is black. Thank you. This is America. Yeah. Anyways, so
I don't really have much to say about that other than, we'll see what happens.
I don't have nothing to say about that other than the Gross Sisters. So the purple, black, Proud Family. Okay. Anyways, I guess if there's anything to say about this, if I can channel my inner Sachi here, it's the overall sentiment that I think I've had people react to this to me, and my response has been one of two different things. It's like literally been both of these things. It's number one, a testament to how much the Democratic Party will protect their own, because Joe Biden has access to the best doctors and healthcare that America has to offer. Or number two, even someone like Joe Biden has shitty healthcare and is only finding out about his stage 4 cancer now in the United States of America because he's either has bad access to American care despite essentially being royalty, or is like any typical American, and anytime they hear about going to the doctor's office, they're like, let's stave it off. I don't want them to tell me bad news.
Right. Guys, just stop eating red meat.
I've given up for the sake of, because I care about my voice more than RFK cares about parasites. I'm not gonna, and because I'm not ableist, and also because I care about my voice more, and also because my accent is my imitation of him is not that good. But yeah, all of that sort of weird health stuff that RFK is pushing has nothing on Joe Biden's ability to just be like, stave it off 1, 2, 3. Now you can count to 3. Like, I don't know. I'm not going to pay attention to it. It's all good. It's not going to be a big issue. Yeah, it'll be fun.
Yeah, I mean, what is he, 82? That's about average time to kick it.
There's been a funny new euphemism that people in like the DC Beltway have invented for this, which is that like, a lot of people internally in the Democrat, and even the way I'm now recounting this from the Washington Posts and the Axioses and the Politicos of the world to Bam's ears, it's very couched in a certain language, but I'll just let you say it's like well, there are a lot of Democrats internally who are looking at the actuarial tables around Joe Biden, and they were saying that there's the actual they're always using this phrase actuarial tables, which is a very academic way for like, he was so old, we thought he was gonna drop dead at any moment, and we had like math to prove it. Like, statistically speaking, you should be so dead. Like, you were alive when like Hitler's body was still warm. Like, you were Joe Biden, you were old .m4a, dude. Like, you are your vice president reminded Democratic partisan voters that you're so old, you were down for segregated buses and segregated schools. All right, like, 100%. Like, I don't know if it's in any of these like little books that are coming out. I don't care, but like, you have access to the best healthcare. And I know, like, for a while, Joe Biden's thing was like, you're the poorest person in the Senate, right? Like, that was his sort of shtick, being the senator from Credit Cards, Delaware, the senator from where Syndicate 23 is incorporated. I mean, like, where all corporations are incorporated at Delaware. No, like, these are. He was Scranton Joe. He was Amtrak Joe. That was supposed to be his persona and everything. It is ridiculous for me to believe that he didn't have access to that kind of healthcare, like the right amount of, like the normal amount of, like not even definitely not normal in America healthcare, but like normal for a head of state or even a former head of state or even the next in line to the head of state in pretty much any country. Even like, you know, countries that are not recognized as countries, right? Yahya Sinwar had I bet Yahya Sinwar's doctor would have caught pancreatic or prostate cancer at stage 2, stage 3 at best, right? Like, them hospitals in Gaza are apparently very good. Israel loves to bomb them, so they must be up to something, right? Like, you know, dear God, I hate myself. But anyways, I'm really oscillating between those two things. And this is one of my more conspiratorial power reports for this not being a Hotep episode, in the sense that conspiracy number 1, I can't believe, like it's either one or two things. 2 or half things. 1, Joe Biden, like every single American, refused to get that sort of healthcare, and just refused to check for these sort of things. 1.5, they knew, and he knew, but they just kept it super, super close to the hip and like tried to treat it, but whatever treatments they had at the time or whatever they could do at the time didn't work, or they're like, oh no, don't worry about it. And or you know, that's 1.5, and then number 2, America's healthcare might really suck that bad. Like, it could be an Occam's razor thing, and like, yo, they really just let the president live on, but they let him have all the ice cream he wants to. They really gave him his, like, you know. I called him in one of my group chats the Make-A-Wish president, because it was like, okay, you ain't got much time left. We're just gonna give you all the fun stuff that you want right now, and just like that's gonna be the end of it.
Yeah, we'll let you slap Trump. I mean, I would imagine that. I mean, I don't know how. Like, I don't know if he was in pain or what. Like, I don't know, but I feel like if he had gone to the doctor, like, we probably would have heard about it, because I feel like when the president goes and has some kind of checkup or whatever, goes to the doctor for like a CAT scan or something, like they tell the public. Now they could lie about it, the results, like they lie about Trump's height and weight, but I don't know, like, can prostate cancer get to that stage without you really knowing what's going on? I don't know, but he might be about to kick the bucket.
I don't want to do this. I kind of want to do it. I'll ask you a question so I can stall a little bit, but I'm going to ask a poll in the chat. Ray couldn't make it on this episode. She sorely regrets it, but you know, in her spirit, I'm going to risk the episode getting unmonetizable. But I'm curious, Bam, what you think about, you know, I think the general consensus, like the overall understanding, is that this is not going to have like a big impact on how people vote in 2026 or a number of these other different sort of dynamics. But there's a rumblings of public opinion being of like, oh, AOC actually stands for the party, not Chuck Schumer or Hakeem Jeffries or anyone who seems to represent the Democratic Party. Public opinion, at least right now, in response to Trump, we'll see how that goes. Although I have no idea how it can change at this point. If it's going to, if the Democratic Party is going to really be able to stay how it is. Like, I guess like we're having one of our other, I guess we always have a version of this conversation on the show of like who you think the next president's gonna be.
Okay.
But rather than asking you to name a person, because Bam is evil and will ask me to like, you know, try to get me to say Gavin Newsom on the show when I don't want to. By the way, Beto O'Rourke has been in the media again. So Bam stock is going up. we may be out of the penny stocks for now. That might be fun. But as I get to my ultimate question here. I love that we're both in on the joke now. But no, yeah. How do you think the Democrats are going to be received in the midterms? Like, do you think that Democrats who ran like Joe Biden and Kamala Harris is like Kamala Harris? People get really mad when I pronounce it a different way. You think they're going to be able to run and be successful against maybe like a Gavin Newsom or a Pete Buttigieg type? Or do you think that more quote unquote radical people within the Democratic Party, and I know that's an oxymoron, are going to be more interested in the race at this point? And just like three more things now.
I mean, I would imagine, I mean, it's just natural. I don't know. It's like pretty common for the other party to do well in the midterms. But, you know, I think with Trump, he does have like a longer leash. So it'll just take like what's going on around that time, like around like, you know, summer next year, like what's going on for people to keep their attention on the bad things that Trump is doing. If they were right now, like it'd be bad for him, for the Republican Party. But we just have to see what's going on next year, you know? If there's still two wars a raging that he said he was going to end.
At least.
Yeah, you know, at least that aren't civil wars like in Sudan and the Congo. You know, that'll work against him. If domestically prices and things that he promised aren't down, that'll work against him. But even, you know, one of those could be different and it could still be bad, like, you know, kind of bad for the Republicans in the midterm. Well, in the midterms, I don't really know, like, but, you know, at this point, like, I don't know, like, what's up for, you know, change, but, I do, once you start going on a long diatribe, I am going to look up what's going on with my guy Beto, though, because, you know, we got a star there. Who's
Let me see. I'm not sure if it's
Bill? Oh, Bill Clinton. How old is Bill Clinton, though? I guess he's around the same age, right?
Okay, he was looking unalive before you were even using that term at the DNC in 2016.
He looks crazy these days. Like, he looks like a skeleton with the nose. Like, it's really bad.
Okay, so there is a clip from Pod Save America where Beto O'Rourke decided to show his face. So, Bam, let's watch this and get some reactions, let's say. One sec.
Clinton and Trump are the same age.
Just to be clear, Biden should not have run again. And to be even more clear, he failed this country in the most important job that he had. In fact, the entire rationale for his presidency the first time and the rationale he tried to sell us on for his attempt to run for re-election. Only I can stop Donald Trump. And he failed to do that. And it's not just you and me, but our kids and grandkids and the generations that follow that might have to pay the price for this. We might very well lose, the greatest country that this world has ever known. And it might be in part because of the decision that Biden and those around him made to run for re-election instead of having an open primary where the greatest talent that the Democratic Party can muster could be on that stage to have a competition of ideas and track record and vision and really excite not just Democrats, but the people of this country who did want change. I mean, if anything was clear coming out of 2024, they wanted change. And to literally run the oldest guy who many people accurately, to your point, said, I just don't think he is capable of doing this. And I know that I saw the Congresswoman and the Congressman on CNN saying he's running circles around us in the briefing rooms behind closed doors. It doesn't add up with what I'm seeing with my own lying eyes. I think that credibility problem is going to persist up until when Democrats say we fucked up and we made a terrible mistake.
Dan, don't even pretend like you don't love him now. He might be over Gavin for you now.
Oh, that's a. I don't like the way Bam asks questions because Bam will ask a question like you'll make a point like in 2010, like, oh, I like what Elon Musk is doing with Tesla or whatever. And then Bam in 2025 will be like, hey, don't you regret it? And so the answer is like, obviously, yes. But like Gavin, at the time that I was, again, not necessarily hyping, it was my favorite. Let's not do some like Bam rewriting here. But I thought Gavin, I always knew Gavin was a centrist. I called him Greasy Gavin before mostly anyone else. And I always was the guy who opened with he effed his best friend's wife. And is mushroom cousins with one of the Trumps. I think it was Donald Trump Jr. Yeah, it's Donald Trump Jr., who was also married to Kimberly Guilfoyle. So that there's just that, your tax dollars at work. I've never loved like Gavin Newsom. That's what I'm saying, right? But I've always said that like he has this like centrist sort of panache that I felt in a pre-second term Trump world that Gavin would actually really thrive in. I also felt the same about Gretchen Whitmer. And I will also say right now, these are the two people who have, Gavin Newsom and Gretchen Whitmer are the two people who have nosedived the most in my probabilities, especially in their response to what Trump, which is, I think, let me put on suspenders real quick. Maybe thumbs under armpits real quick. I think that kind of proves my point. Because Gavin and Gretchen were angling themselves for a second Biden term or a first Harris term. And they were angling themselves for that political reality. Obviously, a Trump second term is a very different political reality all around. It's a very different political environment. And their response to being that caught, like with two left feet, so to speak, I don't know if that's ableist anymore, but whatever. But like their response has been to, let me double down, to suck Charlie Kirk's toes in the Gavin Newsom context and to do like a selfie hide behind the folder sorority pose in front of the cameras in the terms of Gretchen Whitmer. All right. Like we're reaching, whoever was the woman from Arizona, the centrist, Kristen Sinema. We're reaching Kristen Sinema levels of cringe. 2 more points. No. Well, so yes, Bam, you got it out of me. I think Beto O'Rourke is currently doing better than Gavin Newsom. But literally, Gavin Newsom and Gretchen Whitmer are where the bar is in hell right now. And this is because this is the first time we've had this real honest conversation with some like meat on the bones of Beto O'Rourke. Because this is pretty much the first time I've seen him speak and get any sort of like media coverage since the Trump election. So you know what? Fair, balanced, and unafraid. Let's do it.
Well,
Wait. Let me interrupt you really quickly now.
we did this test last time when it was you, me, Caesar, Yasmin. I think it was us 4. But currently, Beto and Gavin Newsom both have 1 million followers on Instagram. And Beto O'Rourke has not been in any office for like 5-6 years. And he ran for governor in 2022 or whatever and lost. So he hasn't been in politics officially for like, and I'll count running for like about 3 years. And he still got some clout out here.
Bam, isn't Instagram the app with all the slurs?
No, they all are. For me, it's the app with all the deaths. But
Listen,
but like
TikTok will invent slurs just to ban you. Trust me, right? Like I posted a video of the Montgomery chair uprising, and I got a copy. I have one of my 3 strikes on TikTok just for posting that video, and they took it down in minutes, like in single-digit minutes.
That's hilarious. No, but
goddamn Xi Jinping.
Beto is not like, he doesn't have a podcast. He's not like, yeah, and like you said, he's not somebody that's in the media a lot. I like what he said right there.
He's also not someone with elected office.
Yeah. Which can help or hurt. And Lefty mentioned earlier that, I mean, he said that he liked what Beto had to say on Pod Save America. And he said that he brought up Gaza unprompted, which is cool. I don't know exactly what he said, but you know, I'm sure for me, like, just to be clear, like, I'm sure there's things that would make me eye roll Beto also. I mean, even just him saying America being the greatest country in the world or whatever, ever, or whatever the hell he said. I'm like, okay, like, damn, you know, like, what about like Denmark or something? Like, I don't know, but like, I'm sure there's things, but like, he is to the left of like the Democratic Party. Okay, I don't know if you can hear that dog barking, but he is to the left of the Democratic Party. Okay, is that dog? Can you hear the dog?
A little bit, but it's okay.
Okay,
he just wants to be in chat.
He's to the left of the Democratic Party establishment, and okay, I'm gonna stop because this dog's going crazy. I'm gonna kill her.
Okay, if you want to handle that, go ahead. I can vamp for a little bit, but yeah, I don't know how to like hold a pro Beto position like Bam was, because I truly can't. But I think Beto, in defense of Bam, in defense of Beto speaks to a sort of person that Pete Buttigieg does, to where, you know, it's true. People on the left will be more critical of him, and people on the center will be somewhat critical of him, and also somewhat like, you know, understanding of him, because they're also critical of the left, so they can do some like group left bashing. But the fact they hold those two, I was saying about how like, now I'm the loud one, but I was saying about how like Pete Buttigieg and Beto O'Rourke hold similar spaces in the discourse, because they can speak to, or at least they can be understood by all segments of the Democratic Party. Like, no one cares about what Amy Klobuchar has to say if she goes on a podcast. people care about what Beto O'Rourke has to say. People care about what Pete Buttigieg has to say. They don't really care about what John Hickenlooper has to say. All right, so I was basically just like trying to steelman your argument and saying that if you have a somewhat like a small bully pulpit like Beto O'Rourke does, and you're using it in exposure of some of these Democrats who are very, how do I put this? You know, Joe Biden, they're very establishment, then that runs the risk of pissing off a lot of those Democrats, but that's also like a good thing that he's doing that.
Right. And
wait, but I was gonna also say no.
And just to say, like I think before you mentioned, like he doesn't hold office, and he hasn't for a while, but you know, I think that there is, especially these days, since like the Trump kind of revolution, there is something to not being establishment, you know, like he is kind of on the fringes of the party and like politics in general. So if he decided to run for something more than, you know, El Paso City Council or whatever the hell he was, I think that could help him. And I don't know if he's going to run for president again. Like I have no idea, but you know, even if he didn't win, you know, it's good to hear a variety of opinions on those stages when there's going to be debates and stuff. And also like what he said, talking about like the open primary. I don't know if there's possibly, you know, there's like some selfishness there. Like he wanted to be there too. I don't know. But I don't know. I liked him when he was running, like as much as I can. I liked him more than everybody else, basically. Like him and Bernie, basically. So we'll see. I mean, I hope that he has it in him because, like I mentioned, like he's to the left of a lot of these people. He's to the left of Amy Klobuchar, and I don't think she has a chance. But you know, there is, and he's coming from Texas, a big state. He's somewhat popular there, and yeah, I don't know. Like at the very least, it's a good voice. It's a good person to throw that in the hat, you know. And there's not too many of those.
Listen, it is. I'm feeling nice tonight. It is. I mean, like, you know, I'm feeling nice in this context, but it is so early before even primary talk happens because we need at least 2026 before that happens. I mean, you know, that work is being done right now. Very rarely do you sort of appear out of nowhere and then end up running. You usually have like a career to give you a springboard if you're actually serious about it. Which I mentioned in my video, which is why Bernie Sanders, the independent, ran within the Democratic primary. I think a lot can change within the next couple of years. And the Democratic Party brand is even more toxic than it was in 2016.
Oh, for sure.
And 2015. Like, no contest.
For sure.
The only, you know, rose to that thorn is that the Republican Party brand is worse. I mean, maybe not immediately right now, but right. It's not gonna get better.
No, it's not. It's not. And I think that
everybody want to be a gangster until they realize, wait, I'm on Medicaid though. and I hate to laugh, but like a lot of those red states, Bam and I are paying for their Medicaid.
Oh yeah,
and we're the ones fighting for their Medicaid.
Right, that too.
And another thing, no, but seriously, isn't it wild, Bam? Because you've made the point that like the reason why we'll never get true universal health care in this country is because
it's too racist.
We live in a racist country that has a certain monoculture that will not accept the idea of brown people having healthcare And you often see brown people on the front lines advocating for those same racist monocultures. The pom to have healthcare. It's a real catch-22. It's like it's almost like we have values and principles or something. And it's definitely not any body watching the show.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to even be that nice about it. Whitey is stopping us from having universal health care. As soon as Whitey says, what the hell's going on here, then we'll have it. You know, like that's what it boils down to in this country. As soon as they're like, wait, we want that, then it'll happen. It won't take long. But just like in Brazil, I remember Lula saying this in Brazil, like during his time as president, the poverty rate was like lowering, and there started to be more, Black Brazilians having disposable income and stuff, and started to like be taking flights, and they're in airports, and literally, the Brazilians with like Polish last. Oh my God. Okay, the dog.
No, run through it. Just run through it.
The Brazilians with the German and Polish last names were like, what are these black bastards doing in this airport? It's the same thing. There are people, and there are sadly a lot of people in this country that are like, if we get it, then they're gonna get it too. And then that's like it's the same thing with like most of these people know that the recipients of welfare is mostly white people. They know that, but they still talk about it like, oh, it's only black people that get it, And literally the white person that is on or has been on welfare will also talk about it like that. So, we got some work to do, but Beto can convince these people.
Let's go back to basics, ma'am. Why is it, do you think, that Americans have this crabs in a bucket mindset? Where they're like, if I can't have good, like if I get good healthcare, that means someone else can get good healthcare. Or, I was able to pay my student loans, so why can't you? Never mind that you're younger, never mind inflation, all these other different things. Why do you think we're like this?
I don't even like to say we, because honestly, there's like a demographic that's like that. And I'm talking about from a voting standpoint. Like there are other demographics that vote for the left, like obviously it's not like the leftist, but like they vote for the left. And there's another demographic that does not. So you got to ask them, like, because it's a different demographic. And like, like that, we're still voting on racial lines in this country,
No, that's a good answer. I'm reviewing a lot of the clips on my computer. And I was going through my talk with Jason Miles, and he mentions this good thing about like the same sort of touch point in between how the center, at the left of center, at the far left, are able to understand the experience of Black and brown and indigenous people, and where sometimes there are blockers in that. If you're a Syndicate 23 member, the whole interview is already up, and I published it without going through it one more time, and I think I went through it already. So if there's some thing I didn't want to have in there, then it's already up and you can just watch it already. So just go ahead, because it got really
record it,
huh?
And screen record it and use it as leverage.
Bam! Don't give out the game for free, okay?
Can I interrupt you actually, or I don't know if you're done, but I truly think, like, when I say like you gotta ask them, like I really mean that, because basically every white leftist that we know has a racist family member like not that far away. And if they're not like racist, they're a Republican. Now, why is Dan putting me on the screen by myself? That's interesting. But like, and I'm not hating on that, because shit, I got racist family members too. But like, I would say like have them ask that person, like, and if that person's gonna be like really honest, you know, like why does that person who is probably, you know, in some level of the working class, why aren't their politics aligned with the working class? You know, like, why? Because the working class of like other demographics are trying to not vote against their interests. And I mean trying. But that person who is also
have they never worked with you know, indigenous?
No, they have. They have, and they do. But for whatever reason, those people are actively voting against their interests and or actively voting against these people. And you know, like, I can't answer that for them. Like, I don't know. I can surmise like maybe they're just that racist. Like, but there's more than that. I would imagine. I would hope. But you know, Pinkerbell has a comment here saying capitalistic indoctrination that requires a high degree of individualism combined with ignorance and agreement. You know, I don't even know if it's like capitalistic indoctrination, because like there's a lot of people that they haven't had that for real. Like, I don't know, like they've had some of that, but I don't know if it's like capitalistic or just like the mindset of like the settler class that's still around, and just like the othering that happened with like the creation of this country. Like, there was, you know, I'm not going to get all into it, but like that is that, like, I think that there's just like that, the othering factor is so strong. And once we get less of that, then, you know, because you're talking about a lot of people that are like, when you're talking about wealth, like we're in the same class, but they don't look at the people. You know, this was like one of the big things with like Jimmy Dore and stuff. Like you've talked about this plenty of times too. Like, he looked at, when he says the working class, he's just talking about white people. You know, and that's like a big issue.
And he'll balk at that and go, no way, I'm not talking about. I love black people. I used to work with Dan. I didn't even make that many black jokes in front of him. Just a few in the beginning, but like not that many. I mean, like, come on. Like, the Sam anti-worker. I used to like JR or Jamal or Jacob, or you know, the two of the black people who worked the company whose names he would always get confused.
On purpose, I'm sure. Like, I'm sure he thought that was hilarious. But yeah, like ultimately, like I would just ask those people, like ask your family, like what is it? Like, why are you a Republican and or racist? Like, why? Oh, and why do you think it's in your interest to vote against expanded Medicare?
I'm not going to let you respond to this, but I will just say my response is that one way to ask it is to just make the contradictions very obvious, and like everything they're wishing onto other people, just go, oh, how do you? It's like, oh, don't you love how you're going to be losing your Medicaid or your disability benefits? Or, hey, I know you like going up to those national parks. There's going to be no service up to there thanks to Trump. Like, just, I wouldn't even like ask them why they're racist or whatever, because they're going to, that triggers them, honestly, right? Like, I almost got myself canceled. I'm gonna do it anyways.
N-word.
For white people, the real R word is racist. And this goes for Republicans and this goes for conservatives too, all right? Because their trigger word, they think that by calling Black people the N-word, or by using slurs towards any sort of racial group, or for being LGBTQ plus, or for having autism or whatever, like, they think that slurs hurt us the way that calling them racist hurts them. Because when they call us a slur, they're just like, honestly calling it how they think they see it. Sometimes that's correct. Oftentimes that's very wrong. And that just like says more about themselves. But when you call them racist, that is something that they fear ostracization. They fear being outcasted. They fear being separated from other people. They fear that maybe their opinions aren't popular because they've heard it from enough people. So I think it's like people's job to like make those people uncomfortable in your life who are more likely to buckle at being called racist than by calling someone else something racist or sexist or homophobic, etc. But yeah, just rub it in. Just be like, hey, I know you're struggling with being a single mom and taking care of your daughter because your baby daddy left you. And of course, white families only exclusively do this. Or if the father voted for Trump, I guess I'll give you a pass for that. But not if you're white. White families only. You do that, and then you rub it in and go, maybe instead of $32, you buy your daughter or your son, like, 2 toys or $2. Because I know that was your problem earlier, was you were too irresponsible spending your money on G.I. Joe toys or Nintendo Switch games or TVs or microwaves. Bam, I'll let you respond to that because I ended up going on a longer.
No, I mean, honestly, like the point you're making about being called racist is true. They really hate that. I think part of it also is lefty or meth. Part of it also is they think of like racism. They want to act like that doesn't exist anymore. Like, I'm above that. Like, I'm too smart to be racist. What I'm saying is like logical. It's not just like racist or whatever. And that's okay. Like, I'm not even saying every Republican is racist. I'm not saying anything close to that. But just the aspect of voting against their interests and things like, and like highlighting the contradictions, or just, make them say it, because once again, like, I don't know, like, I can provide, I can see like the historical aspect of it, but like, I don't know anybody to talk to be like, hey, why? Because, I'm not dilly-dallying with any MAGA hats.
Dilly-dally.
But yeah, but I think it's important to know, and I think it's important to recognize that we do have a lot of those people. I think it can be easy. It's easy for us to forget, and for people to forget that there are a lot of those people. Like, this is America. We got a lot of them, There's a lot of old wounds that we haven't begun to deal with. What are you saying?
We have old rooms that we haven't got to deal with. Y'all.
But
Bam and I are black men. We're perfect.
but I think that, okay, this is the last thing I'll say. Because I was talking about this recently, like the 1619 Project, and how it brought up certain realities that
the original Project 2025.
The things that people want, like they don't want to recognize about like the establishment of this great nation. But aside from that, when the Trump administration released the 1776 Project, and which I read and we talked about it here on Power Report, I actually read it twice because I couldn't believe the first time that it did not mention at all Native Americans, not one time in the whole thing.
Proof that everyone can be naive, because like in retrospect, it's easy to believe they wouldn't mention that. But like in the moment when Project 1776 came out, as like there used to be back in the day where someone would put project in front of something and it was purely an artistic endeavor.
Right.
And it wasn't like actual fucking government policy.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and that Project 76 was like supposed to like be like, no, like America's great and we're going to tell you why, because here's the history. And it talked about slavery, and it said that, yeah, slavery was bad, but America is the only country that fought a war to end slavery. Granted, the people that are putting out this project are supporters of the loser's side, but yeah, like, but I don't think that they may not have been like, hey, let's leave out the indigenous people from this land. They probably just forgot. And like, that's not even like that crazy, because there's so much of American history and American like reality that we forget that leads to someone like Donald Trump being elected 2 times. If we get Dan, it's going to be worse.
Listen, unlike Donald Trump, I really do only promise one day of being a dictator. The rest of the time, I'll be fine. Give me one day.
Right.
We still have yet to see, and I almost hesitate to even joke about this, but Donald Trump said, we just need one day of the police to just, one night, let the police do whatever they want to. He's literally describing the purge.
Right. And it's like, that, what do you think they're doing all the time? They are doing what they want, actually. Like, they're going to pull you over if they want. They're going to freaking beat you up if they want. Luckily, most of the time they don't want to, but like, yeah, they're doing whatever they want.
So many of us are alive because of police laziness.
Oh yeah, like Dan, that is the biggest bar ever. Like, that's it right there. Because I have been in the car and seen a car with like 3-year-old tags, and the cops are right there, and they didn't pull it over. I was like, oh shit, okay, like whatever. I guess
it ain't quota day.
Yeah, like right, or you're just like, I don't feel like it, dude. Like, yeah, we are alive because they're lazy.
We at the Bumblefuck Police Department do not issue police quotas. Meanwhile, at the weekly meetings, we're underneath our allotment for tickets. So that means if you don't meet your allotments by this day of the month, then you're going to no longer qualify for overtime. We know you love that sweet, sweet overtime because you do nothing and get paid triple for it.
Literally.
And that's what we call quota day.
And that's what we call taxes. And if anybody doesn't think, like, probably most people just think of quotas and they're like, you never knew if it was real or not. Just do a few Google searches and you will see so many investigations into police departments and like just egregious things going on. And it's just a slap on the wrist. Maybe one guy has to resign and then it's back to it. And I think the Trump administration just there was like a few investigations going on into police departments federally, and they just canceled those investigations.
Cool. That's great. Cool. I love that. That's awesome. Shall we go into... So my first conspiracy theory was that Biden did not just learn about his diagnosis this past weekend. My second conspiracy theory is entirely different, and I'm going to do my journalistic responsibility to describe this as it is. So basically you have two staff members of the Israeli embassy in Washington, D.C. who were shot to death. Yaron Lashinsky and Sarah Milgram. Yaron was Israeli, Sarah was American. Apparently they were about to be engaged, although I'm not sure how anyone would know that, because I mean, you know, let's keep those things a secret. Like, loose lips sink ships, y'all. Like, how does the press automatically know that? That's my first little That's a little too perfect. Oh, they were about to be engaged. Okay. So Bam's like, I need to get myself off the show real quick.
I don't know where you're going, but go ahead.
I'm not even gonna joke about that. Secondly, you had this video of the suspect, Elias Rodriguez, also age 30. So the same age roughly as age 31. Some sources are saying 31, some sources are saying 30. But I think they're roughly the same age as those who were unfortunately killed during this. But here was the immediate footage that was taken afterwards. And I want your opinion of how this looks, how this feels, how this smells. The smelly smell, it smells smelly.
Oh, God. No. Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Palestine!
I also want to play this person who was like nonchalantly by the door over here and just picks up this, like, you know, keffiyeh right here that's placed probably where the guy dropped it, and then doesn't give it to any sort of police, doesn't give it to just this guy in the suit right here. Now, if you notice, this guy in the suit has also been seen. No, I'm not gonna go into that sort of conspiracy. But I don't know. A lot of people have pointed out, and by a lot of people, maybe may or not, the producer of the show, that isn't this a crime scene? Why are you just like, oh, let's remove the keffiyeh like right away, right immediately, right from this thing? I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna like weigh that into like why I believe this is all suspicious, but because again, like if they have the person captured, they're not really looking to, you know, dust the keffiyeh for fingerprints, right?
Also, the bodies aren't there. I don't think that's the crime scene.
But that's also, I mean, you know, it's a crime scene. It's near where a crime was seen.
I don't really think that's the crime.
Right,
I don't really think that's the crime scene.
are we sure about that?
I mean, is that where the people were shot? Right there?
I mean, like, you know, not the scene of the crime, but you know, the proximity of the crime, the locale of the crime, if you will.
Okay. I mean, I'm not looking at that as the crime scene.
Well, Bam, you're anti-Semitic.
Also, I mean, I don't know exactly where that is, but Like, is that at the police department?
No, this is the Israeli embassy.
That's it right there?
That's
Okay,
correct.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, those guys are probably Mossad or whatever. Like,
No, Bam. I was gonna be conspiratorial, but I wasn't gonna say something so wild as exactly what you said. Like, I'm not even gonna go as wild as I want to because I can easily be proven wrong. But I will say this: I don't know. Like
well,
the idea-
what's the conspiracy? Like, are the people? Are they crisis actors? Like, what are you trying to say?
I'm suspicious that this is just me going with my gut here.
Okay.
As the best conspiracies work. But here's how I'm laying on the dome here. There are so many like crank shooters who like have no real political, like no understandable political opinion. So much so it's like, a lot of people have been to protests who have said free Palestine. And they're also not like trying to pick up a gun anytime soon and like kill, apparently people who work or people who are related to those who work at an Israeli embassy, right? That's way outside the boundaries of what most people do. People are saying like, oh, this is like Luigi Mangione and the healthcare CEO. I'm like, substantially less. I'm like, I don't think these people necessarily could have, gotten into Netanyahu's ear and said, let's pull the more Palestine lever. Let's pull it back a little bit. Let's just, tap the brakes. They don't have the ability to do that. Usually, like, I'll wrap up my point by saying this. Julian Assange was at like Cannes Film Festival or something like that. And he had like a undershirt that he was wearing that he unbuttoned, and it had like in really small print the names of like hundreds of kids who had been killed in Palestine. And then on the right, it said like, on the back said like stop Netanyahu or some stop Israel or something like that. That's a crank. Like Zoomers, people who are young, that's how it's done. Okay. Like you can't just announce your shooting. And, I guess it's a manifesto. Ken Klippenstein posted it. So I haven't read that, but like, you can't just post a shooting and be all like, oh, I'm going to announce the most standard chant ever. It's got to be like, no, there's this one particular story of this one particular kid that I cared about. And so like, I'm going to yell his name while I commit like capital punishment. And you know what? My last point on this, guess who's going to be the judge who's going to be pursuing this case? Fox News host Jeanine Pirro. This guy's going to get the electric chair before trial.
Well, I don't remember.
Sorry. Last thing. That's unless Mossad makes a deal. Okay, Darren, go ahead.
They're like, "Ooh, we could use this guy." My conspiratorial antennae didn't come up for this. Like, the guy did what he felt like he needed to do. I mean, I wouldn't do that. And if somebody asked me, should they do it? I would say no. But it's kind of crazy because it's not the exact same thing, but just a few days ago, like a few days before this happened, or maybe a day before, there were 2 aides of the Mexico City mayor that were shot and killed
true.
in Mexico City. I was like, that's kind of crazy. But, it's not like the craziest thing we've seen. I would imagine, aside from, like, I don't know the guy, I don't know nothing about him. Aside from him being like just completely out there, every once in a while you will see in the West Bank, especially, a Palestinian citizen just going for it against like a random Israeli civilian. I'll say that. They will go for it every once in a while and just put it all on the line with a stabbing or running a car over. I think somebody like shot a pregnant lady recently over there somewhere. Like you'll see that happening in the West Bank every once in a while. I don't know. Maybe
Bam will see because he's following certain people on social media.
So I don't like. Maybe he found inspiration in that action. But yeah, I mean, for Israel, like as a state, like you are a major perpetuator of violence. So like I don't know how mad y'all can be. You know what I mean? But yeah, but at the same time, like would I tell him like that's the action to take? No. But you know, people get it cracking sometimes.
Is that the action to take? No. That's sound advice from Bam. Great stuff. I was just testing out this new format. That's really interesting. Anyways, whoa. Gonna read a couple of comments here. Bad Lefty, having the chat on screen can get dangerous as I get drunk. Valid. Trump Whoppers. Poindexter, smoking a Wonder joint that Booger brought to a party with Omega Mu. Would you rather live in the ascendancy of a civilization or during its decline? Probably the ascendancy, depending on which class of people I am. Because the ascendancy of any sort of empire or civilization is usually built on the backs of an underclass, at least thus far in history. So you know, it's okay. The tankies and the imperialists, they have a better way. The next empire they'll build in New Rhodesia will be very equitable. They'll have DEI in Rhodesia.
I did see a clip of white people in what was Rhodesia talking about black people there, and it was some of the most racist shit I ever seen. I was like, God damn, y'all are like really, really like it's like in your bones. Like, God damn. It was in the 70s too. Like, God damn. Speaking of Rhodesia.
No. There's another thing I also want to mention here that may or may not be part of the producer's take is I think you kind of alluded to this, Bam, as well, about like vigilante justice. And you know, like I think there's a rational way to talk about this and say like, sorry, like I think there's a rational. I've been doing a lot of all-nighters this past couple weeks, but I think there's a rational way to look at all of the anger going on and see how, like Bam said, you'll have some what will they put in the legal documents? Palestinians who will get it cracking, who will, for no better term, take matters into their own hands with things. But you'll also have people who will say like, oh, Kyle Rittenhouse, for example, was a freedom fighter because there was racial resentment that was being done there, and Rittenhouse was there to protect property. And you know, like I think some of these arguments, like obviously they don't really work that well. And I'm not going to say that like, you know, these are the arguments of even like our producer, but these are just to say that like we live in a world of dumb false equivalencies, and this is definitely a dumb false equivalency that you're going to see You know, and some people will make in relation to this. Like if you see, you know, very, very fringes of the internet, and I do mean internet, like not real life people who would do anything other than like DoorDash Starbucks, which is like the peak of depression. Like, yo, make yourself a coffee, dude. Like, walk down to the corner store and get some ice cream if you want a frappuccino, dog. Like, don't DoorDash the Starbucks. Don't Klarna your Chipotle, please.
Are you DoorDashing Starbucks because you live on Skid Row? Like, what's going on here?
I'm not even gonna go there. There's a lot. Do you want to go? It's in. Yeah, no. Let's move on. We talked about Jerry Connolly a little bit. We talked about this shooting at the Israeli embassy piece a little bit. I've gotten a lot of people talking to me about the big beautiful bill. You know, that Donald Trump is passing, and you know, like the way that bills have worked ever since the black one was that, you know, once Mitch McConnell said we're going to make Obama a one-term president, we're going to block everything. The only bills that actually got through were, you know, like a middle schooler doing their homework, the bare minimum. And the bare minimum are the spending approval bills. And that's where you get all these phrases like budget reconciliation and vote-a-rama. And basically it's just this opportunity to get a bunch of things through. Biden's version of this was called Build Back Better. It was meant to be like a sort of pseudo stimulus package post-COVID and post the Trump austerity era. Trump, in a way that I think is kind of coy, his is Big Beautiful Bill. So it's triple B, kind of like the United States' credit rating. And folks, that's bad. And that also happened this week. We got downgraded, but it's okay. I was gonna make a tangent, but I'm trying not to. Part of that bill is basically the gist of that bill is paying for tax cuts for the rich by going into further debt and expanding the deficit even further over the next 10 years. And even though Republicans complain about the debt and the deficit and, you know, expanding that year over year, and they said, oh, Biden was so bad, Biden was this, Biden was that. The Republicans are saying, okay, we know we're going to blow up the debt even more. We know we're going to expand the Pentagon budget. The agency that consistently fails audits them, even though we're gonna blow up the Pentagon budget, we're gonna offset the costs slightly by cutting Medicaid and cutting Medicare and cutting SNAP benefits like food assistance and yeah, all these sort of like terrible destructive things. So that's how we're going. That's how we're doing. I was gonna play this one piece from Howard Lutnick, I want to say. And this is how rich people are talking and trying to get across what's going on and how well or not well that's going. But let's play some of this here, and then you can respond, maybe.
Everything in the world's got 10%. You go to the store now, you feeling the pain? No. Why not? Because there is no pain. Because what happens is the sellers, the producers, the sellers, and the currencies change, and the price effectively mostly goes away. I'm not, you know, what's the inflation rate in America? 2-odd%? Okay, 2-odd%. But seriously, for the month of May, well, every product in the world's got 10% on it right now, with no exceptions, no exclusions. That we have 25% on cars and that are coming in from out. Do any of you feel anything? Because I want you to understand, in the month of May, the United States of America is going to take in $35 billion towards our deficit of tariff revenue in the month of May.
And consumers will feel that.
Well, I said it's already on. This is on since April. So
But
when
consumers will
it's not that the tariff is coming, it's on. Have any of you felt any of it? Seriously.
I don't know if you heard that in the audience, but you heard a bunch of people, not the full audience, but also it's like, you know, this is a crowd of people. This is like a hotel, display sort of room. Like this is a conference room. That's what I'm trying to say. You've got a couple dozen balding white people who are in this audience. And let's go back here.
But when it's not that the tariff is coming, it's on. Have any of you felt any of it? Seriously.
A bunch of people said yes. And these are
Those are rich people.
no, bam, in defense. Now this is the Axios presented by Exiger Economic Summit with Secretary Howard Lutnick. Are you sure just to fill some of the seats, Bam, they didn't just invite some of the people sleeping in tents on the sidewalk outside the building to be in the off and say whether or not they'd be affected by tariffs? Because of course they're affected by tariffs. The tents are made in China.
Well, they're over here door dashing Starbucks. Literally, is there more of that? Because I wanted to see how he responds to that.
That's all that's in this clip. Unfortunately.
Okay.
I can try to see if I can find more.
No, it's okay. Because his face looked funny when the people said, yeah, like it looked like he was about to say something like, well, no, you don't. Like, yeah, I think that most people have seen or dealt with something that has been affected by the tariffs, but like for sure people that are like wheeling and dealing out here that like really have like a big money and stakes in the economy like that, for sure they have. Like for sure people that are in the stock market heavy and doing all that stuff, like yeah, and it's like that's who he's talking to. So like, yeah, of course they felt that. I'm sure he's felt it or seen something, but he's just lying.
Sorry, I was trying to search for the rest of it. I can play it if you want to. I have
Sure.
it. Okay.
It's coming. It's on. Have any of you felt any of it? Seriously. Excellent. All right. Now I'm going to ask the question again. Wait a second. The Chinese tariffs were brutal and they changed a lot of things, but they are over. They are over, and you will see all those prices go away. You will see them all go away.
I don't think so.
I don't know.
So like, first of all, everyone has a baseline tariff of 10% they're on now. So like, even the UK kind of doesn't have their tariffs over. There are some deals on certain cars that, uniquely make UK luxury cars cheaper to sell in the United States than North American made beater cars. So I don't know.
Was that a T or an N?
Whoa. That
took you too long.
That's how you know I wasn't. That's how you know it wasn't bad. But anyways,
Chinese prices work up, and that's all going to go away, right? And remember, he put 25% tariffs on China last time, right? And there was no inflation from it. In fact, in 2019, he had the lowest inflation rate that the United States ever had. So you will see. I agree with you. The Chinese tariffs caused pain last month. I agree, and I feel horrible about it. And the president felt horrible about it, but we had to fight the fight. Okay, the president has to stand strong, and you can't fix things in a day. Okay, and that's still going. But I would expect that.
I love how Howard Lutton is like, he can't fix things in the day. And then Donald Trump on the campaign trail was like, I can fix Russia, Ukraine in a day.
Yeah, like so many things. He said groceries prices are going to go down the day one. Oh, jeez, dude.
Running for office. Egg prices, not a problem, day one. In office for 100 days. Why is everyone talking about egg prices all of a sudden? The fuck? Y'all are stupid. Like, gaslighter boyfriend is an understatement. This is so bad.
Aaron saying that Trump did say gas was $1.99. Did he actually say that? Like, did he actually say gas is $1.99? Like, where? Turkmenistan?
No. Oh God, thank you, Aaron. That's actually real. I need to. I don't have the clip here, but he did say it.
That's insane. There's nowhere in America where gas is $1.99. Like, that's not a thing. Like, what is he talking about? Is he looking at the prices when he was in Saudi Arabia?
Yo, in Saudi Arabia, I'm not gonna get in trouble. I was gonna say in Saudi Arabia, gas is basically free.
Right.
Anyways, I hate playing Facebook clips because they just like look so bad on stream. But I think this is the piece that Aaron was referencing.
You campaigned on lowering the price of groceries. How do you justify cutting food assistance in this bill?
Let me just tell you, the cut is going to give everybody much more food because prices are coming way down. Groceries are down. Eggs. You told me about eggs. You asked me a question about eggs my first week. You said eggs. I said, I just got here. Tell me about eggs. And it was going through the roof. You know that eggs now way down. Everybody's buying eggs. Groceries down. Energy's down. Gasoline is now they're buying gasoline now for $1.99. If you look back, you'll see $3.50, $4. This country, we're going to lose this country. Our country now is respected all over the world. All over the world we're respected. We were a laughing stock. The entire.
He's just doing the same bullshit lines. But like, how do you not just leave when he says gas is $1.99? Like, what are you talking about? Like, gas has not been $1.99 since literally the day Bush invaded Iraq.
Okay. I haven't done this in a while because I'm living that EV life. But here's the AAA's website on fuel prices. This is the national average for today. Again, the 22nd of May, 2025. It seems like the highest states, naturally your Californias, your Washingtons. California's at 4. Let's call that 488. Pennsylvania, nothing's really beating California. So okay, California's the worst. What's the best? It's gonna be these states down here. I saw a 2.7. I saw a 2.6. Okay, let's go to that 2.6. I saw a couple 2.6s. No, I guess it's going to be Mississippi at 2.67.
That's the lowest?
Yeah. Bam. I have a question. I'm not the best at math. Is 2.67 actually lower than $1.99? And did Trump just own the libs?
No, he just rounded down. It's 5 beaches.
Oh, okay. You can do that? I didn't know you could do that with a 2 when it's that high. I would round up to a 3. Is that just it's like with the penny that he just got rid of, where we just have to round down.
Right.
Or is Trump getting rid of the penny also means that we're rounding up, and that's how he's going to hide inflation?
Right. Now, also, Lefty said that the gas is $2 a liter in Ireland. That's like $7 a gallon. God damn. Don't y'all have some oil right above? There's some oil in Scotland, by them islands. God damn. I'm not gonna move the camera, but it's above Morocco and to $7 a gallon. I mean, no, I've never seen. I've seen $6 a gallon before. I've never seen $7.
I actually didn't know there was an EV charging prices here. That's pretty hard. Anyways, I'm gonna look at Canadian gas prices.
I remember when I was in Houston, I was in an Uber, and the guy's like, "Where are you guys from?" "I'm from California." And like the first thing, this happened 2 times. The first thing they talk about is how our gas prices are so high, and they like these guys like know like they're like, "Yeah, you guys have this tax and then this thing and then this thing to make the gas prices so high." I was like, "Dude,
Yeah, well, at
it's
least that read's actually real, not Delta 8. Oh, we were talking about gasoline. Never mind. I was cutting you off. Continue.
No, it was just funny. And like, dude, like it's fine. Like, we're okay, dude.
Sorry, I'm just like looking in for some resource right now. Okay, so in Alberta, I guess I'll call this like $1.50. Okay, so it's most expensive in British Columbia. Of course, it wouldn't. Of course, it wouldn't be in Alberta. In Ontario, it's the cheapest.
Is the cheapest in Ontario?
Yes.
Damn, because they got all the oil in Alberta.
Right? It's $1.31 in Ontario.
Canadian. God damn, it was like 80 cents or some shit. It's $1.30 Canadian.
I mean, this is how I read this chart here. Give me a second. And I've only been in Canada a couple times to understand their gas prices, but it definitely isn't $130 a gallon, right? So it's like $1.30, like $1.31 a liter.
Oh, a liter. Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, not a gallon, a liter. Not a.
Okay.
Oh my god. Yo.
I thought you said a gallon. Okay, my bad.
Bam's opinion on the Dakota Access Pipeline was about to change so fast. Bam, we were about to get drill Bam so fast. If you were like 80-cent gas. I always tell people the story of the time when Amazon was promoting Marvelous Mrs. Maisel in LA. And they actually, Amazon, to do it, they bought up a couple of gas stations and like they turned everything like, because it's themed to be like in the 40s or 50s or whatever. And so they made the gas 59 cents in West Los Angeles, which by the way, like if you live in LA, West Los Angeles is where you get gas if you're a sucker. Because you can go 3 miles down the same street and get gas for literally $4 a gallon cheaper. That'd be the trick. The mobile on Beverly, $7. The mobile on Beverly and Western, $3.
No, the highest gas prices I ever seen was like over there somewhere in West LA before. I was like, damn.
No, I saw $8 in Beverly Hills when the national average was $5.
No, that's insane. Okay, so the gas in well, I think it was Ontario. Yeah, it's not like that much higher than here. I'm sure they have like different taxes and stuff too.
In British Columbia, it's $1.64.
Okay, that's high. That's the average.
Yeah.
Yeah, they probably have some different taxes and stuff too. But yeah, when I thought that you meant a gallon, I was like, wait, what? Because that's the real Turkmenistan prices.
Yeah. So yeah, what's the average price in Ireland?
$2 a liter.
Oh,
that's like $7 a gallon.
God. Y'all need to riot or something. I don't know.
I mean, they probably have way better public transportation.
Ireland? Are you serious?
Somewhere in the cities. I don't know, man.
Let me not get in trouble.
They got that Coke.
Do you? We have a lot of ways to go here. We've talked a lot about domestic news. You want to do international news?
Let's do it.
Do we want to talk about South Africa or do we want to talk about Qatar?
Let's start south. Let's start in the country that has penguins.
Okay, Qatar. So I'm sorry. My understanding of the world is Madagascar 2: Escape to Africa. So I'm going to assume that Qatar has penguins because in that one scene, I don't know. I'm kidding. Anyway,
They got manatees,
which are basically penguins. They're like fat penguins.
Right.
So Trump invited, and by invited I mean Netflix and chilled the South African president to some.
I don't think he invited. I think Cyril wanted to come. I think he invited himself.
Yeah, typical African shit. He invited himself to Bam's like, oh God. Next time I don't get invited to the next Afrobeats party, they're gonna show this video as proof as why I'm not black enough. Because Bam loves Afrobeats in Big 2025. This is God. So yeah, South African president comes to United States, however it is. And if you thought the Zelensky affair was bad, this was I said, like, correct me if I'm wrong. He Netflix and chilled the president. Like the president Netflix and chilled the South African president.
Even turned the lights down.
It's like, no, turn the lights down. Play the videos. You would have honestly thought, based on how much of a hog Donald Trump is for the Ox, you thought I was just gonna finish there, right? But no. You would have thought the Careless Whisper was gonna play on the saxophone part. Like, wow, he was right there. It's like, I hear you people like the saxophone. They call Bill Clinton the first black president because of the saxophone. You know, I play saxophone better. Women always tell me that I should go blow them, and you know what? It's because I'm so good at it. I'm really one of the best at saxophone, one of the best blowers. People always say I'm one of the best blowers. Like, Donald, you're so good at blowing, Donald.
He's an attractive guy.
He and I have to definitely debate. That's what I love.
But yeah, that video that he was playing was all about supposed South African genocide of farmers. And you know, there is a lot of violence in South Africa. That's totally fine. Let me correct myself. There's a lot of violence in South Africa, and that's not totally.
Let's get it popping.
No.
Randomly.
There's a lot of violence in South Africa,
Randomly.
and that is correct. It is random, and that's not good, but it's not fine. It is not, and we are just having that. When I say, like, you know, it's fine, that, like, it's to be expected. Actually, not to get all FBI crime statistics on American conservatives, but the average person to be murdered in South Africa is an urban dwelling black person. Like, because of how many people are getting killed, the farmers are being targeted because, well, frankly, this is just crime 101. They're in rural areas. They're far away from services. There's, you know, have been some internal political issues, but overall, like, this idea of there being a genocide of white farmers, let's just say that to say that white farmers have been singled out any more than any other of the constantly murdered population within South Africa is, you know, A, unfortunate, and B, very rich, because those numbers are just off. B, if you are one of the clear white supremacists, I'm not just saying this because you came across the story and you're like, oh, a genocide somewhere that I haven't heard of sounds bad. I'm against genocide. Like, I'm not talking about you. You're naive, right? But if you are approaching the situation saying that there is a genocide in South Africa, and you can't admit that there's also a genocide going on in Gaza, on numbers alone, you boujin. You're ridiculous. You're done. Also, Night Sachi, thank you very much. But there are a number of people, and again, like Elon Musk is one of these people. Donald Trump is one of these people who are saying we're going to criminalize Free Palestine. And that's another thing to that Israeli embassy thing that happened, right? They're going to use this as an opportunity to criminalize anyone who has ever said Free Palestine, anyone who's ever been to a protest and said Free Palestine. The most innocuous chance. They're not even like trying to, touch the boundaries with From the River to the Sea, because that was the old game they played during the Biden administration of, oh, well, if you're doing that, then there's no room for Israel. Now they're going straight to, if you say Free Palestine, you're a murderer and you support murderers. And they're going to use this as an example, as though they weren't already. And so one last thing. No. Bam, what are you thinking here as we are looking at the South Africa piece?
Cyril Ramaphosa came to America randomly.
Randomly. You gotta roll the R's.
I think he wanted to, talk business with Trump and try to like get on his good side. He brought a lot of white people with him. I think he only brought white people with him. Like he brought somebody from they have like a coalition government with I want to say it's called the Democratic Alliance, another party there in South Africa, a more of a right-leaning party that is like, it's not like all white people, but it's like a kind of a white party. And he brought like some golfers with him. And, I think he wanted to like try to maybe do something about the tariffs and talk some business with Trump. But of course, Trump had to wheel out the big back TV and show some, he showed Julius Malema singing the Kill the Boer song. I'm like, have you not heard Lil Durk? But he showed like this area where it's like a bunch of I think it's like crosses on the ground. He's saying like, oh, these are all the farmers that have gotten killed, and it's not. That is not a cemetery.
It was a memorial, basically.
Right. But it's not like indicative of like all the white farmers that have been killed. There is like a memorial kind of place, or like it's like a memorial. It has like the names of farmers that have gotten killed in South Africa, but they're not all white. And yeah, there have been black farmers that have been killed too.
I was going to say they're not all white. Some of them are Nordic.
This idea that like white farmers get targeted by, their workers or these like extremists is like complete bullshit. I think basically they say like the times that these white farmers have been killed is the vast majority of the time it is a financial dispute. I would imagine a lot of the times it's like another white farmer is like hiring some black dude to kill his op. Like he's like, get Vanderbeek over there. I'll give you, 20,000 rand or whatever. So
not Vanderbeek. Oh no.
Well, they're all freaking Dutch. So yeah, this idea.
Should we risk a ban and up the volume on this?
No, because Malema gets on my nerves. Honestly, like he gets on my nerves. I already had to go hard on him before on PowerPoint.
This is in the OBS PowerPoint days. If you know
I think he's all talk, but like that's a cute song. Like that's cool. Like the song, that's cool.
Get on, man. When I'm the poor, the farmer, the poor, the farmer.
This honestly doesn't even go as hard as the bigger arena where he does it, and you actually get like more of the sound from the crowd. But I mean, this is bad. This is bad. We don't condone this or support this.
I don't think it's that bad, but I think I don't really love that dude. But there was like some comment section that I replied to some person, probably pretending to be a South African of Boer descent. But it's really funny to see like I mean, it's not like I'm seeing them, but there are some people out there like these South African of Dutch and French to some extent descent. It's like, dude, your enemy actually was the English. Like that's your enemy actually. Literally the first time a concentration camp was ever used in the world was in South Africa in the first Boer War in like 1911 or something like that. Like that's
the farmer, kill the poor, the farmer.
There we go.
Attention. Randomly.
This is right in the middle of my point. This is great.
You're talking about the first Boer War, which is why you triggered you activated the sleeper cell.
Right. That was the first time concentration camps were used. The English were putting the Boers in concentration camps, killing them. Imagine if Dan ever listened to me. There's like so much history. Even I mean, now granted, I feel like nobody cares, but I'm gonna just say it anyway. Even like the apartheid system was set up by the English because they were afraid of the Boer whites joining up with the black people of South Africa, because they were the English were treating everybody like shit. They were treating those Dutch descendant people like shit. And so they had to create a system to where, okay, we got to create something to where these people don't just join up with them and kill us all. So, yeah, but obviously apartheid lasted for, 50 some odd years. And, we are where we are today. This idea that the South Africa came out of apartheid and then black South Africans just started killing white farmers is just not true. And yeah, that's a quick Google search, guys. Also, like Elon Musk, like he's just like saying that shit, like trolling. It's like, you don't care. You do not care about South Africa, dude. Like, you have no interest in going to live in South Africa or being there. You don't care about anybody in South Africa. He's just like repeating whatever right-wing bullshit that he can find. Like, he does not care. I don't even think he's a citizen anymore. Isn't he Canadian American now? Like,
I think his mom was Canadian, which may say something. I thought he was born in South Africa, so I'm not sure.
He was, but I don't know if he's a South African citizen anymore. I'm not sure about that. For some reason, I thought he was a Canadian and American citizen now. But I'm not 100% sure. But he, like, even Elon Musk, like, you didn't, when he lived there, it's like you were living the good life, dude. You were living great in South Africa, and a lot of white people do.
He became an American citizen after maybe being one of the people that Trump may have deported. I'm not sure. And he was born in South Africa, so he had South African citizenship through that. And his mom was Canadian, so that's how he also had the Canadian citizenship. I think his grandparents through his mom's side were also Hitler sympathizers, but you know, you can Google.
Wait, so he's not an American citizen, Elon?
He is an American citizen because he eventually got his American citizenship, but I'm just telling people to look into his time at PayPal and figure out if he was an American citizen, because that's a little
Yeah, because I don't think you can have 3 if you have American. I think you can only have 2.
I think they bend the rules if you're rich.
Okay. But yeah, even Elon, like himself and his dad, and they were very wealthy. And they weren't farmers. So yeah,
they farmed rocks. They farmed rocks.
Yeah, they had mining money.
That's rock farming,
right? No,
mining. That's such a liberal.
That's what Mandela was doing. But yeah, I'll say this. You know, the history of South Africa is very, very interesting, and it has a lot of parallels to American history. I think I said this last week, even down to the covered wagons. And it's just basically you replace the like native indigenous people here with like the indigenous people there, which are just different complexions.
I think that's very fair. So yeah, we understand that. I will say there was this one really funny moment, because I want to loop in the guitar piece as well. But this is when Ramaphosa was trying to court Trump and saying, "Listen, we're doing the best we can here."
That idiot talks about after viewing a thing where thousands of people are dead.
I'm sorry, I don't have a plane to give you.
I wish I did. I would take it. If your country offered the United States Air Force a plane, I would take it.
Okay.
But that idiot.
But again, he's referring to, I think, someone in the press saying that idiot who watches that video and doesn't automatically believe what I'm telling them, even though it's like, oh, sorry, let's play this video that I'd already prepared that is clipped and angled to look the same way that like matches my propaganda that I'm pushing. Like, he really thinks we're as dumb. Do you really think the broader world is as dumb as his base? And he's finding out really quickly that like, we'll play that dumb if you'll give us shit, but no one's that dumb, and everyone's smarter than him too. Because again, he's even like, hold on.
I would take it.
Okay. Like he's like, whatever.
Yeah, he's like, you're just like a corrupt loser. Like you haven't like he like, you know, there's a lot of leaders in the world that are corrupt, but like, like, I mean, I hate to say it like this, but like Trump is just acting like some. No, okay, I won't say it. He's just acting like some tin pot dictator. Like, yeah, give me a plane, it'll be fine. It's like, and Ramaphosa's like, dude, like, we're trying to like actually talk here. You're showing bullshit videos. I gotta act like they're real to an extent. You're not even listening to anything I'm saying, and like. I brought these white people. Trump probably didn't even realize those white people were from South Africa. Like, he's probably like, well, no, like it's Africa. So what are they like? What's that about?
They're from they're from the very, very tip bottom of South Africa. Where it's basically like Antarctica. There, it's cold. They've like Bam said, they've got penguins. They go quack 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 quack.
Also, it does snow in South Africa, but not where the penguins are.
March of the Penguins was actually filmed in Argentina.
There you go.
That's a joke. It's not. Want to talk about Israel? Things are going really badly there.
We can.
Have you heard of Miss Rachel at all?
Miss who?
Miss Rachel.
No, I mean, no, I don't know.
I guess you haven't been around kids very much, which is congratulations, you passed. But Miss Rachel is like a kids YouTuber who is, you know, like a LeVar Burton, a Mr. Rogers, like a I'm going to be very universal and I'm going to, you know, care about all students, and kind of in a Sesame Street way, like no matter what background you come from or, you know, any of these other different things, I'm going to be there for you and kind of like support you. And so she recently said that she is, you know, praying, holding space. I'm not really sure what, you know, non-denominational term she used, but she cares about children all over the world, including children in Gaza. This got her labeled as an anti-Semite. She's gotten death threats. She's, you know, kind of tried to like spend a hard time holding it all together. And so I really feel sorry for her. Miss Rachel's not really political. She's just like, you know, making content for not even kids, like toddlers, for parents to leave on while they. I'm going to stop myself right there because this is a decent enough point, anyways. But Miss Rachel has decided not to run away from all the criticisms from being like called anti-Semitic all of a sudden. And she's decided to just lean into it and doing the things she does. And so not
leaning into anti-Semitism though, right?
Well, we'll play this next clip here and we'll see how anti-Semitic she gets. Now, Bam, I know you have a really weak stomach for these sorts of things. So I'm not going to play the whole thing. I just want you to kind of like get the idea of what she's about and what she's doing and how she's responding to criticisms that she's prioritized. You know, she's not all lives mattering this genocide here.
Let's go back to sleep, Rahaf. We're so tired. See the bunny sleeping till it's nearly noon. Shall we wake them with a merry tune? They're so still. Are they ill? Wake up soon.
You get the point. Anyways, you may not see this, especially because it's like a tall video, but the girl that Miss Rachel is with is actually a 3-year-old amputee from Gaza. And so she's like, you know, doing one of her usual like segments that she would do, but specifically now going, okay, well, you said I was bad for caring about these certain types of kids. Now I'm just going to like be very obvious with it and be very like over the top with it. Again, like I look back at when you were still trying to do integration in TV, and Mr. Rogers invited a black guy on his show, and they were like washing their feet together in the pond. And it's like, this is public access TV now. Sue me. What are you gonna do? You know, these are like little moments here and there, but I think especially in the context of a kid show, and here on Power Report, we believe the children of the future. We, as has been expressed very often by Sachi. So this is, I don't know, like I am glad to see that outside of political context, where we're always like talking about the stuff to blew it in the face, this politics is resonating outside of that, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, that's precious. I don't know where she films her show out of, but that's hopefully wherever you are, keep that kid
Jerusalem.
There. Damn. Keep that kid there, man. Don't send them back nowhere. But I wish there was like
a rough. It's like, okay, like Trump says, get her out of here. Get her out of here.
I wish there was
Rafa.
I wish there was another person that was like familiar with the Arabic language, because that name is funny and we can make jokes about that. But yeah, that is really precious. And yeah, I'm glad I'm glad she's not backing down. Hopefully AIPAC doesn't come for Hopefully, like her freaking emails don't get leaked or something.
Oh, her emails have already gotten leaked, and AIPAC is already coming after her. So that's all happening, and she did that anyways, which is why I think that's like really good. So yeah, that's the main thing going on in Gaza. The other stuff is actually though like the UN was saying. I'm kidding.
That's the main thing going on.
That's I was again being facetious. I was trying to make sure you're awake still.
Okay.
But continuing on the Trump frees Palestine report. What is this, like maybe the 30th time that Trump has freed Palestine? I don't know. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, yeah.
Okay. I literally saw I think it was on Democracy Now! Actually. A woman who's a doctor from the UK who has been going back and forth to Gaza since October 7th. And she was saying that right now is the worst that it's been when it comes to working at that hospital, seeing children. Not only are they suffering from these bombardments, but they're also malnourished because Israel did not allow aid in for 8 weeks or something since like March 1st. They didn't allow aid in, and then like the other day.
And to be fair, like they're already not allowing much aid in since October 7th. And to be fair, they're already not allowing much aid in before October 7th. So
right. Before
they were like going like, are we not merciful? We're sending in 10 trucks to feed 1.5 million people.
Right. And they sent in I think they said that, like, I saw 6 and then I saw 9 trucks. And then I saw like that they didn't actually send them in or something like that. So like Israel
new peer.
Israel is saying that they've already had enough aid to sustain them. The entire, like, I feel like we talked about this last week, but the entire, aid distributing world is like totally against Israel distributing the aid. But I guess that's what's going to happen. But it's really bad. It's really a shame. Israel has been ramping up the bombardment. I think they're having some different people evacuate some cities. I want to say I heard Khan Yunis, which is like a big city. You're also seeing some rumblings of, I guess Trump came out and denied it, but that they were going to send the Palestinians to Libya. But I guess Trump said that that's not true. Like, oh, we're not going to do that. But you never know. People in the Israeli government and Netanyahu's government are saying that they want to and Netanyahu himself actually, that they want to completely control Gaza at this point. And I don't know what that's going to look like or if that's possible. But in the meantime, you are still seeing, dozens and dozens of people are dying every day. I don't even know who the hell Israel's bombing anymore. I did see a video of like Hamas fighters like ambushing some Israeli like truck. I remember it was like a Hummer, like an armored personnel carrier, something like that. I'm like, oh, that's cute. But yeah, I don't even think that there's any like fighting back for real going on at this point. Israel's just bombing indiscriminately.
Remember, during the quote unquote ceasefire, this was like in February and March, and Trump was writing this like post inauguration high, and Netanyahu was giving the baby the ointment that he wanted, and was like, yeah, you had people returning back, again, to what? Like, some of these places have been bulldozed. Some of these places just have like rotting corpses from the bombings from the previous days, weeks, months, years that have passed by. And, to ask like what are they bombing, it's like they missed some tents. they missed some they missed some starving pregnant mothers. They missed some fathers, they missed some kids, they missed some. The median age before all of this in Gaza was 18 years old.
Right.
So, and that's not like average. Average is like a more fluky number. Median is pretty precise.
Right.
So you've had a lot of, God, 36, you might as well be a grandparent in Gaza, unfortunately. But like,
probably are.
You've got a lot of kids and children who have died in this. You have a lot of teenagers and young adults who have died in this. Number of journalists who have died in this too. It is absolutely devastating. And for everyone who was saying, "Oh, Trump's going to free Palestine," what does Trump do? Like, Trump's not even freeing Ukraine.
Well, Trump doesn't even talk about it. Like it was really funny to see the media try to paint this narrative that Trump was like slighting Israel because he didn't go there during his trip to the Middle East. And I'm like, I don't think he went to Israel the first time, but I don't remember like when he did the orb thing. Like, I don't know if he went to Israel that time, but I don't think he did.
He didn't go on like a trip to the Middle East, but he definitely went.
No, he went his first administration, his first trip was to Saudi Arabia. And that's where they did the orb thing. But I don't know if he went to Israel in that trip. I don't
think so either. Yeah.
I don't think so. So, but it was really interesting to see media, like left media, paint this narrative like, oh, well, like maybe like he's like slighting Israel. Like he's upset with Netanyahu because the war is still going. I'm like, what? Like he didn't say anything about that.
He was definitely sliding Ukraine and Russia. I mean, like he was sliding Zelensky.
Yeah, he's been doing that.
He was sliding Zelensky because they were gonna do this, like, three-way trilateral meeting somewhere in the Middle East, because it's all
in Turkey.
Somewhere in Southern Europe. And so like he was but Putin said that he wasn't gonna go. And Trump was like, okay, well, I'm not gonna go if Putin's not gonna go because I'm not gonna meet with Zelensky again. That's below me. Below me. And so that is where Zelensky was kind of left with blue ball. No. And so that was a particular situation. I don't know why I have that Chiron ready to go, but there we go. Yeah, Trump was very clearly snubbing Ukraine. The idea that Trump was snubbing Israel, especially when you're hearing where I want to say his name's Steve Witkoff, but he's like he's the dealing with shit czar. He's the unfucking America on the world stage czar. At first I was hearing, oh, he's the special envoy to the Middle East. I'm like, okay, cool. Good luck to him. And I hear he's going to Ukraine and Russia. I'm like, okay, he's the special envoy to Eastern Europe. Okay, that's interesting. And now just realize like he is Trump's international fixer because he's been to everywhere, which is, great. That doesn't bring up any concerns or anything. But I was trying to say, like, yeah, Steve Witkoff was involved in some of these negotiations with Iran. And a lot of the U.S. playing hardball against Iran is backing up Israel and saying that, okay, we're going to play into this little game where, okay, if Iran gets a nuclear bomb, then Israel's under threat. Therefore, that justifies Israel to do whatever they want to. Also, the Houthis, also Hamas, also Hezbollah, King Me, Baltic Avenue, do not pass go, do not collect $200. Like that's the way Steve Witkoff and the U.S. government are thinking. And Israel's very happy to whoa, I stopped myself in the Monopoly analogy from it getting really bad. But they're very happy to be controlling the deck, let's say. Even that's kind of iffy. But anyways, Gen X Boomer says people need to understand that under historical precedent of the last 5,000 years, what Israel is doing is within their rights. Yes, it's dirty work, but it's legit.
Now, I don't know if this person's trolling. Like, I almost feel like this person is trolling, like it's somebody we know, kind of trolling. Because I don't know. Does somebody really believe this? Like, you're talking about 5,000 years, man? Like, what the hell was going on 4,000 years ago that we need to be concerned about 4,000 years past that? I don't know, man. Like, it would make more sense if you just said, based on the historical precedent of October 7th, 2023, Israel has the right to do what they're doing. That would make more sense. But to say 5,000 years, Israel hasn't been a state until 1948. Okay, yeah, I don't know, man. I feel like this guy's trolling though. Like, what? Okay, let me put what he says the next time. Responding to Mr. Bad Lefty, is not BS. The reason you believe that is because of 60 years of Marxism. The only reason it's even a thing is to bring down Western civilization. This person's trolling. Like, this isn't real.
Can I say,
right? Do you have like a ghost behind you? Like, what the hell?
First of all, oh yeah, this is my that's my wank sock.
If you just put like 2 little black circles on it, that'd be great.
Woo! Oh yeah, it's like a robe of some kind. Anyways, first of all, Marxism is older than 60 years, and the only thing it brought down wasn't Western civilization, it was Friedrich Engels' pocketbook. If you know, you know. Second of all, if I'm being most charitable with your first argument, the 5,000 years thing isn't necessarily like a biblical thing, although it easily could be. I'm seeing it as like okay, in human civilization, you wants it, you takes it, I guess, is like the way they're arguing over it. And I don't know, we have a new international order that's not necessarily based on it's not supposed to be based on hostile takeover. It's why Crimea is an occupied territory and not really part of Russia, according to most countries, right? There are reasons for this, and that's the reason why. And countries try to do this all the time. Like, you think Turkey, there aren't people within the Turkish government who are looking towards the glory days of the Ottoman Empire? You think there aren't people in the American government who are looking for a future glory day that doesn't exist of an American global hegemony? Like, maybe there were beer goggles about it during World War II, but these things haven't actually existed. So I don't know what you're talking about with 60 years of Marxism, because Marxism really, in the sense of, international solidarity, sure, but this is like a human rights issue. Fundamentally, this has nothing to do with Marxism, which is fundamentally talking about economic relationships.
Marxism has no influence on anything in the world in any real way. This person is...
Bam. What about podcasts?
Right. Sorry. What about moderate, the gray zone? No. I think that this person, if they're being honest, because I do kind of like, it's like, you got to be trolling, but whatever. What happened on October 7th, which you haven't even brought up, but
wait, sorry, Bam, please continue. But you keep saying the 60 years thing. What happened 60 years ago? This is my genuine question to you. What happened 60 years ago that made it change from America not throwing Marxism through the education centers in the United States? Which, by the way, what education centers? your comments an example. But B, what happened 60 years ago? What was the difference between before Marxism and after Marxism? Bam, please continue. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know what he's talking about, but maybe the Civil Rights Act, he's like mad about it, but he or she, who knows. But under whatever this guy's talking about, I feel like they would also have a problem with Native Americans fighting for their land that they were in. I don't know if this person would say, like, you know, when Europeans showed up to these lands, that the indigenous people here fighting to keep their land was a bad thing. I don't know if that person would agree with that. Based on the logic, I guess they would, but maybe not because Marxism wasn't around yet. But yeah, I don't know. 60 years ago, I don't know. Like, was it the civil rights movement? Like, that's the bad thing? I don't know, man.
Yeah, if he hasn't already gone, or if Bad Lefty hasn't already banned him or her, or them. Yeah, I'm curious what happened 60 years ago. Because again, like 60 years ago, Bam, to remind you, we're in the 2020s. It took me way too long to figure out. So yeah, 60 years ago was the 70s.
No, it was 65. I just did because I'm like, wait, what was 60 years ago? Oh, wait. Let's read
yes. Oh, yes. 60 years ago, your people had actual laws that worked against them and that needed to stop. Marxism is castrating kids and saying the struggle is the same as slavery. Who's your people? That's my only question.
I don't even understand that. Like,
who's your people?
Well, I don't know if he's talking the blacks or the left. Like, I don't know, but like
it's a fair question. Who is you people?
Right. No, it is a very fair. It's the pertinent question for sure, but it's just like I don't even understand this. Like, this is just doesn't make sense. Marxism is castrating kids and saying, what struggle? Actually, I want to know what struggle too. Oh, melanated. Okay, that's all right. He's talking about melanated people.
Listen, so JetX Boomer, thank you for your honesty. Yeah. Usually, I'm not even going to use the R word because I know it offends you people. You people.
Your people.
Your people. Sorry. I forgot the R at the end of you. So
hard R.
You know, I know how you people get offended by the R word, so I'm not going to use it. But I appreciate an R word ist who can just say what they are right there. So melanated, yes. So again, 60 years ago, the blacks had actual laws that worked against them and needed to stop. So it's saying like, okay, during the civil rights era, things were bad. But now, in response to the civil rights era, we got Marxism.
Right. The funny thing is, I mean,
and Karl Marx is running around to elementary schools with a pair of surgical scissors.
Now, the real question would also be like, who brought the Marxism? Which ones were those?
Lyndon B. Johnson.
But I would also ask him like what the struggle is. Like, what was the struggle at 60 years ago? What was that struggle? Gen X is back again. Do trans people, Black Americans, and Palestinians come from the same struggle and have the same issues today as when 60 years ago? What were the issues 60 years ago? What was that struggle? That's what I want to know.
I'll just take it at face value because this is probably going to be like the last time I take this comment seriously. Let's take this person seriously. You get free speech, not here. Honestly, trolls get too much attention on this show, but we'll do it anyways. do trans people, Black Americans, and Palestinians come from the same struggle? That's where I stop you right there. Yes. All of those groups of people in different ways are being oppressed sociologically, economically, and politically in, I'd say, pretty much all environments in society, right? Like, I'm not sure I could name a country where Palestinians or trans people or Black people celebrate like full first-class citizen rights. And if they do, I have a hard time thinking of a country where that happens when those people are not rich relative to the average person in that country. Give me a country where a poor trans Palestinian who can also be Black.
Yes, that's true. I've met some.
Give me a country where a poor trans Black Palestinian, and not just one, I'll do token plus, all right? I want 20. Give me a country where 20 trans Black Palestinians are doing good, and then you know what, Gen X Boomer will unban. Shut up, Bam.
Thailand.
Maybe like, you know,
Thailand.
I thought you were pointing to the Uyghur area of China. But like, then we can have this conversation. But until then, ridiculous. Like, not worth my time.
Well, yeah. Also, it's just I don't like this person's not really answering the question, because I would love to know, like, what's the struggle? Like, what was it 60 years ago? That would answer a lot for me. But
wait. This is awesome. Sorry. Palestinians are doing great in America. We have a couple in Congress. Okay. I'll give you a free space. Rashida Tlaib. Name the other Palestinian in Congress.
Well, he can't.
Now, there are some Palestinians running for Congress. Shout out to previous Power Report guest, Kat Abu Ghazaleh. But she is not in Congress. That election's not for another year. So,
Ralph Nader's Lebanese.
Really?
There was like a Syrian governor.
Yeah, Gavin Newsom.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead. I was gonna say Gavin Newsom's Dominican.
Oh, oops. Yeah, go ahead and do your thing, Lefty. I mean, there's not even any point.
Yeah. I'm sorry. We tried,
because I wanted to know what the struggle was, and then I think that they didn't want it. They didn't have an answer for that.
And again, like, I will give it to racists who will just say, I'm talking about the blackers. I'm talking about the blackers.
Do the drop.
Hold.
My N-word.
You should. It would be great if you had them call in and then you just mute them and play that over and over. my
just YouTube poop them.
N-word.
I can't unfortunately like restart it every single time. That's like a difficulty, but yeah, it's yeah, fun.
My N-word.
Yes. What else?
Your president got himself a plane.
Again, even I don't care about that. Like, it's
imagine it just blew up. First trip, the shit just exploded. I would be like, I would get a Qatar tattoo right now. I'd be like, this is the gangsterest shit that's ever happened.
You know, we were all thinking it. We were all thinking it.
Oh yeah, we're all thinking it. Like, it just goes into the Freedom Tower.
Like, if we had the money to do this honeypot, any of us would.
Oh, 100%. Absolutely.
It's the easiest honeypot in the world for anyone who has an extra jet and some bombs.
Oh, absolutely. Skytanic.
And yo. Anyways. So yeah, I'm not a big fan of that.
I don't really care either.
What other world updates have we got? Pakistan and India. That's kind of staying the same.
That ended right when we said it would. We both said that's not going to last very long, and it didn't. There was something. Oh no, yeah, we talked about that. Yeah, I'm going to say this. You know what? I feel like I should just do it every show at this point. It's a broken record, but I feel like I'm doing that all the time. I'm still waiting for a free Palestiner to say his name one time. Can you please just mention Biden is about to die? It's not his war anymore, right? Is it going to be Trump's war at some point? Any free Palestiner on my Instagram or anybody else, just send me a screenshot. And then I'll
Trump is a German name, so saying that it's Trump's war makes it anti-Semitic, so you can't do that.
Ooh.
Biden, that's Irish as hell. That's fair.
We're not claiming him. The Grim Reaper is about to.
Our poll that we did in the audience, more people think Biden's gonna get it before Clinton.
I think Bill's got the plug on the adrenochrome. That's why.
You're all underestimating the power of evil. Joe Biden has more blood on his hands. He's gonna live longer. That's just the rule. Donald Trump is gonna live till 200.
I don't think
he's gonna be eating Big Macs in hell.
Joe doesn't have more blood in his hands. He does not. He doesn't. Because
Than Bill Clinton?
No, he does not. Because when Bill Clinton was president, they put those sanctions on Iraq, and they estimated 500,000 kids died. And what's her name? Madeleine Albright? I think they asked her about that, and she was basically like, well, if that was the case, it was worth it or something like that. It was one of her worst sound bites. For sure, Lefty knows. Also, we had something to do with the Balkan Wars. I don't think a whole bunch of people died there, but
wouldn't Joe Biden have been a ranking senator during all of that?
Yeah, of course. Yes. Albright said, yeah, it was worth it. Yes. So that's on Mr. Clinton. Those Balkan Wars, they were back in some side. A lot of people died over there. What else when Clinton was president? I feel like it was the Balkan.
Bill Clinton had some slaves in Arkansas and then went on his killing spree as president. Joe Biden, you talk about career politician, Joe Biden is a career politician. Do you want to know when he got elected to senator in Delaware? 1973. 1973. Okay, that's almost 50 years ago. Might be more.
He was winning them elections, but we're counting him as president. Now, Joe.
No. We said blood on his hands. We didn't say blood on his hands as president.
Then Bernie's got blood on his hands too.
Yes, I think Bernie Sanders' foreign policy is one of his weakest spots as a Democrat. Democrat, quote unquote, right? But yeah, no. I'll happily throw Bernie Sanders. I'm not one of those normal leftists. It's like, oh, we worship at the altar. We worship at the altar of Bernie Sanders. No. But
I'm gonna count Bill as president and Biden as president. Bill, they did them sanctions, and
Bill got 2 terms. Listen, if Bill got 2 terms and a blowjob, Joe Biden couldn't even get it up during his entire presidency. So, like, I don't think we're comparing apples to apples here.
Well, you just said who's got the more blood in their hands, and I mentioned that they estimated 500,000 kids died.
No, I was talking about blood in the dick. Therefore, it's got to be.
That's Trump.
I don't. Anyways, I'm messing around. I'm being devil's advocate, but I am saying like everything Bill Clinton did as a president, Biden signed off of and advocated for as president, as a senator, as a ranking senator in the U.S. Senate. So, I don't really have a lot of love for any of these people. So,
I've got 0.
0, not like even a 2, but not negative. So there's still nowhere to go but up. Okay.
I just want to let everybody know Dan is tired. We've reached that point. I know when that wall's been hit. I know the things Dan. I know the maintenance. We've reached that point, y'all. I know when it happens. There's a certain look, and there's the little bit of the Belgian accent comes out, the little Dutch side.
It is true, folks. You know what? I'm feeling. Am I not merciful? I'm feeling merciful. I'm gonna end the show early. I'm gonna. Bam thinks he's slick because he thinks he's mastered some reverse psychology on me.
No, I it's been a long time, and I know some of the cues. I know.
I've also again, check out YouTube. I've been busy on that. Again, check out some of the moving stuff. I've been very busy on that as well. And yeah, I'm going to direct folks on YouTube and Twitch to Riverboat Jack. And that's gonna be the show. Bam, do you have anything going on? You don't do We Made It podcast anymore.
No, soccer's dead. Anybody here in Southern California? I know Lefty is. This weekend, May 24th, Saturday, Below the Waist. I thought Bat Lefty's still adding Gen X Boomer. I was like, damn, is he still here? We're performing in Downey. Yeah, hope to see you there. Tinkerbell, Bad
Free
Lefty,
Dick and Downey. Let's go. Yeah.
Monip, and
Loose Dick and Downey.
who else? Tinkerbell, FG. See y'all there.
I hear that I have the silent mouse, so you can't hear when I do it, but I hear the
Oh yeah.
mouse.
You also have Apple TV. You're kind of balling over there.
Hey, I'm getting rid of Apple TV now that the studio is over. So yeah, get off it. Anyways, the power is always within you. Thank you very much for listening and watching. Bam, you won this time. 8 minutes early. Take that to the bank. All right. Appreciate you. Appreciate Sachi. Appreciate everyone modding on the show. Definitely appreciate everyone who's watched the video. More to come. The power is always within you. Cheers. Oh, I was not ready to end the show. There we go. Now we're ready.
I love Tesla. My N-word.